What I'm about to share will fundamentally shift your perspective on every betrayal you've ever endured. Carl Jung, the legendary psychiatrist, unearthed something truly unsettling about human nature. By the end of this, you'll grasp why some individuals seem inherently wired to dismantle you. If someone deliberately wounded you, listen closely. This wasn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. According to Jung, this was their shadow, the hidden, darker aspects of their personality, making a cold, calculated decision. Jung believed that when the shadow acts with such intent, it reveals something chilling. They don't just dislike you, they've psychologically erased your humanity. Here's the bombshell Jung dropped that most people never realize, and it's truly shocking. Jung identified contempt as one of the most perilous psychological states. It doesn't just create distance, it forges a moral justification for cruelty. When someone reaches this level of contempt, Jung observed they've completed what he called the devaluation process. You're no longer seen as a person in their internal world. You've become an object, deserving of their disdain and punishment. Jung famously stated, "The human psyche cannot commit intentional harm without first creating elaborate justifications." The shadow doesn't just lash out, it constructs entire narratives. They deserved it, they're so weak, they brought this on themselves. But here's the terrifying part Jung uncovered. These internal narratives aren't random thoughts. They are psychological weapons, meticulously crafted long before any actual strike occurs. What Jung discovered about this process will make you scrutinize everyone around you. Jung believed that contempt is the shadow's most sophisticated tool because it doesn't always wear the obvious mask of hatred. He observed that the shadow can don disguises: passive aggression, false concern, strategic silence. The person aiming to destroy you might still smile to your face, but Jung warned us, actions reveal the shadow's true intentions when words lie. Jung discovered that manipulation represents one of the shadow's most calculated betrayals because it demands what he termed instrumental thinking, treating others as mere objects to be used rather than human beings to be respected. But here's what Jung found most disturbing about manipulative people. They don't just lie to you, they study you. Jung stated, manipulators engage in what he termed shadow projection. They meticulously observe your vulnerabilities, not to understand you, but to weaponize your own psychology against you. Jung observed that manipulation follows a predictable, insidious pattern. It starts with small reality distortions, carefully testing your boundaries. If you don't resist, the manipulator goes deeper, systematically eroding your sense of self until you're left questioning your own sanity. And according to Jung, this isn't accidental. It's the shadow exercising its most sophisticated form of control. But here's where Jung's research becomes truly chilling, and this might be the most crucial insight you'll encounter today. Carl Jung discovered that when someone truly harbors ill intent, they instinctively target what he called your core complexes, the psychological structures that give your life meaning, the very bedrock of who you are. They don't attack randomly, Jung said. They go straight for what you love most, what you hold dearest, because the shadow understands that emotional precision creates maximum devastation. Jung observed something terrifying. This kind of targeted assault usually comes from people who know you intimately. And here's why that makes it infinitely more dangerous. Strangers can wound you, but only those with intimate knowledge about you can systematically unravel you. They've observed your values, your deepest fears, your most cherished dreams. Jung called this privileged destruction, the shadow using intimate knowledge as ammunition. If you value loyalty, they betray you. If you cherish honesty, they lie convincingly, right to your face. If you prize your reputation, they systematically dismantle it, brick by painful brick. Carl Jung discovered that after causing harm, truly malicious people engage in what he termed reality manipulation, systematically distorting your perception of what actually happened. But Jung found something even more sinister about this process. The perpetrator achieves what Jung called a double victory. First, they inflict the damage, and then they make you feel guilty for even noticing it. Jung observed that gaslighting isn't just manipulation, it's psychological warfare designed to make you question your own sanity. According to Jung, guilt becomes an invisible leash. You start walking back your anger, hesitating to speak up, wondering if maybe you were too sensitive. Jung warned that this confusion is intentional. It protects their fragile ego while keeping you emotionally destabilized, perpetually off balance. But here's what Carl Jung discovered that will absolutely blow your mind about why toxic people keep circling back. Jung observed that haters don't just want to hurt you once, they want to keep you broken. According to Jung, your healing becomes their greatest threat because your recovery proves their attack failed. Jung said that when you begin to heal, you disrupt the narrative they've painstakingly constructed about your weakness. Jung also discovered that hatred thrives on control, and your healing represents the ultimate rebellion against that control. But here's the twist Jung uncovered that changes everything. Jung observed that people operating from shadow hatred will often reappear just when you start healing, disguised as concern or even genuine attempts at reconciliation. But Jung warned, these aren't sincere attempts at repair. They're strategic efforts to reopen old wounds and reassert their psychological dominance over you. So what does Carl Jung say about how to respond? Here's where his wisdom becomes truly life-changing. Jung discovered that the most powerful response isn't revenge, it's what he called a conscious response. According to Jung, when you respond with clarity and truth, rather than reactive emotion, you break the destructive cycle of shadow projection. You refuse to become what hurt you. Carl Jung said that truth doesn't need theatrics to create impact. A grounded, honest response hits harder than explosive anger because truth is simply harder to argue with. It lingers, it reveals, and it allows you to walk away with your integrity gloriously intact. Jung observed that when someone intentionally harms you through contempt, manipulation, and gaslighting, they're making a declaration of war against your spirit. But according to Carl Jung, your conscious response, rooted in truth rather than revenge, is your ultimate power. Jung's profound insight reveals that no amount of hatred can strip away your inherent dignity, and no betrayal, no matter how deep, can dictate your worth. Though the pain inflicted may have been deliberate, Jung's wisdom empowers us to take control of our recovery, to rise above the hurt with intention and purpose. When we choose to emerge stronger, without resorting to retaliation, to communicate with clarity and compassion rather than venom, and to heal without letting the wounds define us or transform us into the very thing that hurt us, we triumph in a silent, unanticipated victory, one that leaves our adversaries completely unaware of the battle they've truly lost.